All right, cool. So Samir, welcome. Happy that you're here. I loved what you're doing, and I'm interested to learn more about what you're up to as a data scientist, innovator. What is it that you're currently working on that you're excited about?
Oh, thank you, Joshua, for having me here. I'm working on few new projects. One of that is digitally duplicating the employees for any company so that you can hire them better, or you can basically find who are the people who actually matches the cultural and the skill and the soft skill values of your employees you might already have in your company. So that's what the new and exciting thing that's up and coming in the talent acquisition market or even talent retention market.
Got it. And what is it exactly that you are currently like interested in as like a data scientist? Like what are some things that you're working on behind the scenes that maybe hasn't hit like the mainstream? Because unless you're in uh the front lines as like a computer programmer each and every day, like the general public doesn't know exactly what's going on. All they hear is AI and
Right.
all the things that are happening with Mr. Musk or what's going on at like large technology companies, but
Right.
you're on the ground floor of what's happening on, so I'd be curious to hear about what you're seeing, doing, researching.
Sure. So let me take you back a little bit, a couple of years back, right? 2022, right? Everything AI was predictive analytics, right? We were using Tableau, Power BI, a lot of dashboards were there in the market, right? Nobody was talking about the word AI because AI was more or less sales pitch, right? In the sales deck, you will write that we are AI powered company, we do AI powered solution, but at the end of the day, nothing true AI was there.
Hmm.
In
So it was a
simplicity,
bunch of crap.
it was a bunch of a crap years ago, right? I'll go
It's
ahead
kind
and
of
say that,
kind of
yes.
like Siri on the iPhone. She's
Siri on the
terrible.
iPhone, yes, just that it is there, but there is no real use of it, right? So but a lot of things changed when the Chat GPT came into the play in 2023, because AI became mainstream word, because anyone and everyone can go on Chat GPT platform, prompt something out and get an answer which looks like somebody is talking to you. And that was new for most of the people because let's study the behavior side. We all are very used to of typing something and getting an answer, right? That's what where we use Google, Bing, Yahoo, everything, right? But what if instead of scrolling hundreds of pages, I can give you a concise answer, right? Now I'm not saying whether the answer is right or wrong, right? I'm just saying that the ease of getting answer makes your life seem simple, right? And
Hmm.
that's when people started thinking, okay, how we can integrate this conversational AI into a lot of different things that we are doing, right? And then last year, you might have seen the surge of platforms like where you can prompt and you can create image, you can create video, you can create anything and everything, right? I'll again say that is not the AI. That is still the tip of the iceberg, right? Real AI is artificial intelligence, which means a system intelligent enough to take some decision on its own, right? Now you
Hmm.
prompted something, it gave you an answer. That is not an intelligent system. That is just a better querying tool, right? You don't have to scroll to 100 pages and find the answer. Some tool is going and giving you a gist of all the answers. Now,
Hmm.
what's happening in the AI world, in the real side of the AI world, is people are trying to create systems which can work on behalf of you. For example, let's say I want to do this podcast, right? I want to have something which looks like human. It generates question, gives me answer, and talk to me, right? Now I don't have any person sitting at the back end, right? I'm just talking to a machine, but everything looks very real like. Why? Because based on what I am saying, a system is able to interpret and give me some follow-up questions on it, right? Or even smarter questions on it, right? And that's where the new AI trend is happening. Now, most
Hmm.
of the people are very scared that what it means, right? I'll again go and say that nobody actually knows what they want to use AI for, because this is the most confusing time in the technology era and the most exciting also, because a lot of things are happening, but nobody actually knows what they're going to use it for.
Yeah, and I recently decided to upgrade to the paid version, and the
Mhm.
paid version it's night and day. it's
Yeah.
just so much better. And a lot of people are like, well, this chat GPT, it doesn't work really well. It's like, well, you're using the free version. Anything that's free isn't going to be as good as the paid version. And when I upgrade to the paid version, and when ChatGPT first came out, I was like, how can I use this as a tool? It's not a replacement for myself. It can't just do my job for me. However, it can make me use less brain power. Like if
Yeah.
I mean, how you do coding, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're doing coding and you're stuck, what would you have to do? You'd call a friend. They would have to call a friend. They would call a friend, and then eventually you might find the answer. Now you can go in the chat GPT, like put it in and be like, "Hey, like pretend you are an expert coder. You're stuck on this problem. What are the various solutions that you might come up with?" And then all of a sudden your brain fart, all of a sudden the chat GPT gives you ideas. Now you can keep moving forward without having to call six different people to get an answer.
Yeah, yeah, true. And I guess that's what the true purpose of Chat GPT was. More or less, it becomes an assistant to you, right? Like a lot of people say that AI will replace you, AI will do a lot of bad things, but I think on the hindsight, AI is going to create so many jobs in the market, and not just in the technology world. In every other parallel world, AI is going to create thousands and tens of thousands of the new jobs, which might not have existed till now, right? We all remember 10 years ago there was nothing like brand manager, social media brand manager, right? That word itself came like 5 years ago, where people saw that boom of social media influencer, that, oh, you need a manager to manage the social media influencers also, right? Same thing AI is going to do. A lot of new jobs, a lot of jobs which require a little bit of technology, but more of functional knowledge. That is what AI is going to do for in next 5 years. Like I think by the end of this decade, we are going to see a revelation of changes in every industry that is out there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe it's going to be a must-have tool.
Yeah, it is a must-have tool, right? Why not you will use it if it can increase your productivity by like even by 20%, right?
Hmm.
Why won't you use it? So,
Yeah, I mean, it could even help you, even if you, let's just say you don't work, and let's just say your check engine light comes on in your car. You
mhm.
can literally put in the make and model of your car and be like, hey, my car has this many miles. I was driving, the check engine light came on. Could you find any references or resources online on what the possible problem may be? So that way, if you don't know how to fix a car,
Yeah,
you make sure that the mechanic that you bring it to and what ChatGPT says has some sort of similarity. Because if you don't know about something, someone could pull a fast one on you and charge you more money than
yeah.
they should.
Yeah. And actually, it happened to me a couple of months ago. So I drive Mazda, right? So there was some light blinking, and I don't know too much about that side of the machinery. So I just took a picture, uploaded it to ChatGPT, and I asked what's the issue, and it says that your tire pressure is low. And I basically took the pictures of tires, right? And I uploaded in the system, and I asked which one is low, right? And it actually gave me, okay, the rear tire has low tire pressure, air pressure, and you should go and get that pumped up. So that basically saves my $70 call to a guy who will come and do this thing for me, right? So why not? Like, and then gave me answer in like 5 minutes. I was very okay, and I got everything that I needed to. So yeah, I see it more like a utility tool, right? We all used to have in growing up in the home a toolbox, right? So I think ChatGPT or any of the new AI tools that is up and coming, it is like that utility box.
Yeah, I mean, the more tools that you have and the more tools you know how to use. The thing is with like a toolbox is you have to put in the time to fix it
Yeah,
versus with ChatGPT, you're essentially speeding up the whole process and
yeah.
saving yourself not only time, but money too.
Yeah. And that's what the next generation of AI is. Like people are trying to create something we call AI agents, which can do that job for you, right? You know what the problem, you know what's the solution, but still somebody has to go and fix it. So that's where the AI agents come into the play. They can basically go and do the XYZ job for you. Now, the thing is, they cannot do a mechanical labor yet, but anything that is required to do on your Windows machine or a Dell laptop or an Apple laptop, they can get a lot of things done on a software side of the equation.
Yeah, what kind of things are you seeing?
For example, let's say I have a database and I want to move that data from one database to another database and create, let's say, presentation out of it. Right?
Mm.
These are the three things that I need to do. Right? I'll basically use AI agents. One agent will basically go pull the data. Second agent will clean the data. Third agent will basically create presentation. And fourth agent will basically show that, okay, this is what I did. These are the steps that I followed and I got the things done. So I don't need a data analyst or a business intelligence person sitting in my company and doing this job. Rather than they can go and use that report to take some action on it, rather than just because machine might not be able to understand how it affects your business to a whole extent, but you as an employee, you can understand with that report, okay, I didn't wasted 8 hours of my day just trying to wrangle the data system, did everything for me. Now I have 8 hours to make a decision on how I can improve my company or improve my system, processes, or any and everything that I'm doing. That's where the AI agents magic come into the picture.
Right. So you're able to come help use the agents. However, you still need to be able to decipher what the agents are doing in order to make the best decision.
Yeah. I don't think there will be any day in the future possible where we'll have 100% true AI intelligence because at the end of the day, somebody has to go and look at the data and make some sense out of it, right? What if everything that we have trained our agent on is on a wrong data, right? It will not do the right job because it doesn't understand the difference between wrong and right. So you'll still need a human at the end of the day to make those decisions.
That'd be like if you go to McDonald's and the Taco Bell menu comes up. It's a complete wrong day. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
I came to McDonald's, not Taco Bell. But that could be something that happens is you have the wrong data. It uploads to automate a system. And then now you have confusion and now you have to work backwards.
And like every time you have to go and retrain a machine or refurbish anything, it's a lot of cost in our, especially in the AI and the data world, right? I'll just piggyback on your example, right? Let's say you go to McDonald's and you order a fish or fillet, right? Which nobody orders, right? So you go and you order it, and let's say instead of putting one fillet, it basically reverses the order, like it is giving two fillet, and basically in between there's a bun, right? It changes everything. Now, it might have happened because data might hallucinated or it might have basically didn't understood the process of how to create burger, but the output will be there. It will look like burger, it will feel like burger. It's not a burger, right? It doesn't have two bun, it has two fillet. So that's the major issue which most of the scientists around the world are researching on and how we can minimize it, right? Because if we are able to get to that level, I think we'll be able to create more intelligent, beautiful system for the people around the world, right, to use it.
That would
Now, yeah, sorry.
that would be like an April Fool's joke a company did on someone. It's like
Yeah,
everyone's like, hey, posting these pictures on social media, like, oh, it got the wrong, and then they could just like go on social
right.
media and be like, April Fools.
Yeah. Yeah, like again, that will happen and that will happen for some time until it gets fixed. And that's how the machine learns, right? It's machine learning at the end of the day. So it has to make mistake, otherwise there is no learning.
Hmm.
So
So, how long have you been working on AI in this field?
it would be my 6 years now. So I did my master's in AI, which is where I learned a lot of tools, a lot of techniques, right? Most of them, just to give the context, most of the AI techniques the algorithms were designed in late 60s and 70s and 80s, right? The first ever AI made in the world was I think, during the World War II, right? When I don't know whether you have seen that movie or not, where they tried to break the Enigma, right? And
Yeah, the
uh,
decipher code Enigma machine where it used matrices, and you'd have to have
right,
the one matrix and then the inverse matrix in order to decipher the code.
right. So that was something like that. I guess the name of the movie is The Imitation Game, right? Which
Hmm.
is which is one of the best movie, and I think he was majorly the father of AI, right? Who created how the real world AI can be deciphered and made, right? And people then came up with a lot of algorithms and everything. now the technology has caught up, right? The hardware of the things, right? So when I started my career in AI, especially in the AI field, more or less it was statistics, right? Right now also it is statistics, but somewhere or the other, we have now a lot of compute power, right? So whatever we were doing with hundreds and thousands and 10,000 rows of data, now we can do the same kind of computation for billions of rows of data, right? And usually in most of the AI cases, when you add a lot of data, it starts making a lot of trends, and you can see the trend and make some decision on it, right? Which trend you want to use, how you want to use, and where you want to put it. So that's what the my 6 year. That's what I have seen in the last 6 years, right? The new machine coming up. What I see next happening is a lot of people going and creating their own systems, right? I
Hmm.
always the example which I heard somewhere, which is refrigerant, right? The first time the refrigerant was made, it was just a cooling gas, right? But somebody thought that okay, we can put it behind a fridge and it will become a refrigerator, right? And then somebody thought, okay, we can put it into the hospital and we can do a centralized ventilation system and it will become a centralized air conditioning units, right? So we have developed the refrigerant right now. Now there will be a lot of people who will come and who will either build hospitals on top of it or build a free fridge or even Coke machines, right? The slushies that we get, right? Everything is a byproduct of simple thing, which is refrigerant. I think the current AI or the LLMs that we call large language machine and the models, I think that will become refrigerant and a lot of people will come and try to make something out of it.
Yeah, we had someone on the podcast who actually builds these models for companies. So that way, if you have 10 employees, you go on the one chat and you can search, like, hey, I'm having this problem. What do I do?
Yeah.
Versus going into like a team chat, you'd have to wait for someone to respond. Hopefully, someone on your team knows the answer. So that's a way to make companies more efficient. However, in order to get that chat bot to work, someone has to build it manually first. And that's where you can't rely on a software to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I advise for a company, White Glove AI here in Dallas, and they have a product which basically scans a lot of data, right? You remember, like a lot of banks have data which is on a paper, right? Pen and paper. It basically scans that data, put it into a format by which, if you are a manager or somebody who needs to use that data, you can basically conversationally try to talk to that data and get the answers, right?
Hmm.
Now, this is everything at the back end is LLM, some or other form of LLM, right? But the use case is so beautiful that we can basically take ton of data in the past and create a system and which is truly digitalized, right? I don't know whether you know about this or not. When people started doing the digitalization, they basically took the hard copy of the things, they scanned it and put it in a folder. That was the digitalization, right? It was still a thing which is like hard copies print out, right? Which is stored on your desktop system. You cannot use that data for anything at all, right? But now this new gen LLM models are there, which is actually going, understanding that data and creating it into a format, which can be actually really useful and insightful, right? So I see like a lot of changes happening due to one single innovation, which was LLM.
Hmm. Is there anything people can do to protect themselves and their data? Or is it pretty much there's nothing anyone can do?
Good question. So I'll say something very controversial, right? I think protection or data protection in current world is a myth, right? You are never truly protected, right? Let's say you put a firewall, you put a blockchain system, right? Blockchain system is still owned by someone, right? So your data is always at a risk, right? There is no true 100% protection.
Hmm.
What you can do is you can decide what kind of data you want to use at which system, right? For example, iPhone has a setting which, if you'll download the new version, it will say that do you want iPhone to train on your data, right? Now let's say you visit a lot of website, you do xyz things on your phone, and you can just click it off so it won't learn on it, right? Legally it cannot learn on it. Right now, I don't know what's happening on the back end side of the things. I won't go and debate on that stuff. But legally, they cannot learn on your data, right? So you can silo your data. But let's say you work in a firm, right? And where you code, you write emails, you do all the documentation. You want that system to learn so that next time when you're doing something, you can just prompt it out and it will understand exactly how you write and it will write that thing, right? So as a user, at the end users, we have to be very conscious about what we want system to learn and what we don't want it to learn legally, right? I'll just add the word legally every time I say this because somebody will come 2 years down the lane and then they will do a white paper that we were stealing the data and all those things. So, but yeah, that's how you basically protect yourself. You decide what you want your system to learn on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give like my real name unless I absolutely have to. If I'm signing up for someone, I have like a ghost email where if I have to sign up, I it goes in an email that I never really check.
Right. Right.
And little things like that. I mean, you could even fudge your phone number. Like
Yeah.
you can make it off by 1 digit
Yeah.
if you have to put your phone number. But they've been really cracking down on the 10 DLC
Yeah.
because of the inappropriate practices people were doing.
Yeah. And that's the issue with, I think that's the issue with any and every technology, right? Like there are a lot of good sides to it, but there are a lot of bad sides to it also, right? And I don't think there is a governing body anywhere in the world, right, that basically goes and says that this is right or wrong, right? My major issue last year, which I talked about at every place, was AI ethics, right? Who is deciding this ethics, right? Somebody might be good for USA, which might be bad for Israel, which might be very bad for China. Something which is very good for China might be very bad for us in USA, right? Who is deciding? Is there any central body in the world which can say that okay, these are the law that are going to govern your data, govern how you use any AI model? Now let's say you create that governing body. Now people will come and question, okay, now we cannot do any innovation on it because you have already put a lot of brackets on us, right? So it's like two side of the coin, right? One which will give you security, and other which will give you innovation. Innovation will create a lot of jobs and all those things. Security will create a lot of hysteria, right? You don't know whether you're safe anymore or not, right? You don't know whether somebody sitting in a country far southeast can access your data and try to blackmail you on something, right? We the face, like we have our faces here, right? Our faces are there, like we have done, let's say, 100 podcasts, right? We can create a system which basically talks like us, right? Now how we will protect ourselves from something which is actually speaking like us, right? Like people can do a ransom call or something which with our voice, right? And nobody in the world can know whether it is right or not, right? So there are a lot of issues that is there, but I think the central governing body has to be there at like UN level or something, which is governing AI ethics across the world, right? Otherwise, it will create a lot of hysteria and people will use it for the bad things. You might have already seen people doing that photo replacements, right? Or the voice replacements, right? A lot of fake videos. We had the USA elections right now, right? If you remember last 2 months, we have seen a lot of videos with a lot of, it was very funny videos, but a lot of the videos which basically did all the misinformation transformation, right? So that's the issue.
Mhm. But they do have like websites where you could like copy and paste something and it'll tell you if it's been altered, right?
It can, but that website needs to have enough information about you to predict whether it is altered or not, right? For
Mhm.
example, let's say my voice is there everywhere, right? Let's say somebody creates a clone of my voice and basically started using it for uh, doing the ransom call to the people, right? All the bad things with my voice, right? Now, system doesn't know whether I do that kind of a thing or not because as a human, I can, and I have all the voices. It can understand that okay, voice looks very similar, but it won't understand because that event has not happened in the past. Now, the videos, the doctored videos, that is easy to predict because you already have an original copy and you can compare the fake to it, right? But there will be a lot of situations where people don't have anything original, right? So
Yeah, I saw like a YouTube live video of someone who used Elon Musk, like saying like, "Hey, like this is like a crypto event. If you send us X amount of crypto, we'll double it," or something.
yeah, yeah. Like again, like people can do the stock market change, right? Like people can show that oh, stock is rising up, put more money in it, right? And in reality, it might not have happened, right? And that's what my biggest worry is, right? How are we going to tackle all these issues, right? Is somebody from the government is going to raise up the hand and say, yes, we are going to tackle it? Or will it be the stock market website that they will say that, oh, you cannot run anything on our website, you cannot capture any screen, you cannot do any video recording, or you cannot generate our images from any of the other platforms. Somebody has to do it. I just don't know who. And if somebody will call me up to do this, I'm up for the job. But somebody has to do it.
Yeah, and I mean that's what like everyone's asking about. A lot of people are asking like, "Oh, like do you invest in the cryptocurrency?" But to me, the most important asset is that's like the blockchain and being able to protect people from financial crimes by utilizing the blockchain. Do you have any insight or expertise on that?
Yes. So blockchain, I believe this is a beautiful technology, right? Blockchain is one of the best technology that anybody could have ever imagined or created, right? But investment wise, it's very flaky, right?
Hmm.
You might have seen if you started investing in crypto, right? 5 years ago, crypto was on downside, right? Everybody was scared that we are going to lose money and everything, right? Some event happen in the world. Elon Musk will come and say that, oh, Coinbase is doing great. It shoots up, right? Now again, it is going down, and you cannot predict when it is going to go down or when it is going to go up because it is more or less governed by the people and the narrative in the market, right? But stock market, you can have a look at it. You can look at the company's past that, okay, they have always made revenue. And it makes sense that if I'll invest in that company, there's a higher probability that I'll be right, right? I'm not saying that I might be always right, but there is a higher probability that I might be right based on the past trend. Crypto is so flaky that I don't even know if I put like $10,000 today, will I have 100,000 yet day after tomorrow, or I'll have like $0 day after tomorrow because I cannot predict it, right? So when there is something which you cannot predict it, it basically becomes like a gambling thing. You're going and doing a gambling, right? If you are a gambler, if you like to do a gambling, then go ahead with that. Then you can go ahead with anything, right? It's as good as a slot machine, right? It's just that crypto is limited. There is a number of currency that you can mine or that is developed. That is one thing, but rest everything I'm not into favor of because I think it's a too risky investment. If you have money and if you don't want to burn your money, invest in land, invest in property, invest in products, right? Which is coming in the market,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah. I mean, I've put enough in the cryptocurrency where if it goes up, it'll make a difference, but if it all goes to zero, like it's
yeah,
all good. I've been using a Venmo credit card. And one of
right.
the options is you can buy like Bitcoin or Ethereum with it using instead of getting points. So I'm like, well, if I use my credit card and I pay off my credit card, I'm getting free cryptocurrency. And that way I'm not even using my own money to buy it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it makes sense. Like I have always followed the old rule of investing, right? If you have, let's say, uh, at least try to invest 20% of your money in 80% diverse portfolio, right? You don't want to miss out on anything, right? Invest a little bit on crypto, invest on real estate, invest on even in if you want to like 401ks or Roth IRAs, right? Go and invest as diversified as you can so that net and net you are not at a loss, right? Uh, this is what we have learned and seen from anyone that has been rich in the past, right? You can took any capitalist portfolio and you will have a look that diversification always brings wealth, right? If you're stuck at one point, you cannot never make wealth because if everything goes down, you'll be zero the other day, right? So
Well, you just want to take calculated risks. Like I was talking with someone the other day. I was like, imagine, Samir, you have a $5 million account and you put $1 million into one investment
yeah,
and that investment goes down 50%.
yeah,
Well, that's only like losing, let's see, 10%.
yeah, just 10%. You just,
You'd be so if you went heavy, you're like, hey, this is a good investment. It goes down 50%, you only lose 10%.
Mhm.
Now, that's painful, but it's not as painful as putting it all in and losing 50%.
Yeah, true, true.
But on the flip side, if you do your homework and you feel like it's a good investment,
Yeah,
it could also go up 50%.
yeah, 100.
But I don't know. Have you ever read the book The Down Doe? investor. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, the one thing that stuck with me is like heads I win, tails I don't lose much.
right.
So you always want to create like heads I win, tails I don't lose much. So I mean, you have like a $5 million portfolio, you put $1 million, it goes down 50%, you lost 500,000, you're only down 10% on that investment. Now that's assuming all of your other investments stay even.
Yeah,
Now if
yeah,
they all go up and one goes down, you're not down 10%. You're
yeah, yeah.
closer to even or even positive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Most often that would be the real case, right? Investment, I have seen that it hardly happens that all of your portfolio is doing very good in the market. There will be one or two sucker which will be so down that you will hate why you put so much money in it. But if you have a balanced portfolio, and as you said, right, a well-researched portfolio, I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of investing. And that's what I don't know, like why people don't teach these things in the schools, right? This is the most important thing that people should teach in the school, but it basically it blows my mind. Like every time they'll teach you all the stupid stuff, right? Not
Hmm.
this.
Well, it's because the people that are good at investing are busy investing.
Yeah, you're right. This is what I heard this year, right, at one of the conference that uh, practitioners don't teach and people who teach don't practice, right? And that's the gap in the education industry. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean, I've been watching a super microcomputer
mhm.
and they're like going through some things and I just pulled up the stock. They're down 68% the last 3 months.
Oh
And
man.
and they were up over the last 5 years, they're still up 730%. But they were up 5,000%.
Wow.
Um, so I don't know what's really going on with them. I know super microcomputer is one of those semiconductor companies that everyone's starting to talk about now. And I like
Right.
tell people like and you probably know more about this than I do. Everyone's like, "Oh, Nvidia, Nvidia, Nvidia." It's like, well, like what's preventing anyone else from coming up with the next best chip?
Sure.
Obviously, Nvidia was at the right place at the right time. AI came hot.
Yeah.
Tesla needed chips. Google needed chips. Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard, and they need a ton of chips. So I mean, they were at the right place at the right time. But unfortunately, someone could come up with a better chip.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's always the market capture game, right? If somebody comes up with a better chip, better pricing, Nvidia will lose the money and the market that they have because it's a valuation market, right? It's not the real money yet, right? If somebody buys out Nvidia, then they have to pay that much money. I just wanted, I don't know whether you followed this or not, Tesla stock, right? I was very fascinated by this election. I don't usually like to talk politics, but this is something I saw for the very first time that a prime businessman putting everything on the line to go and to be in the election, right? If you look at the 23 October stock price, it was 213.65, right?
Hmm.
That stock price on that day, right? Today it is 318, right?
Yeah, it went up a ton.
it, it went up to $100, right? Not even a month, right? At the day 11th November, it was around it was up by what 350, right? So which basically says that uh, if you are smart enough, if you are looking at the market, it can do a lot of things for you. The same goes for Nvidia also, right? If you look at the Nvidia's last 1 month play, it has been very jittery, right? It went up, went down, went up, went down, right? So you cannot actually predict where it is going to go down. But if you look at something like very long-term companies which has been in the market, like Hilton, right?
Yeah.
If you look at Hilton and if you compare their last 5 year prices, it has always gone up,
Hmm.
except the COVID period has always gone up. Why? Because people will travel, people will stay at Hilton properties, right? So it's fascinating. Just on the data side, it's very much fascinating for me because it ties the sentiment and the market together.
Yeah, I was analyzing a company and I used ChatGPT. I said, "Hey, can you tell me the stock price and the price to earnings ratio from 2009 to 2024?" And it just like created a chart. And then you can look and see like, all right, like the price to earnings versus the stock price or the price to earnings compared to like where it's been and use that to help you make a decision because
Yeah.
when things start to go up, people get excited.
Right.
However, I'll pull up Tesla real fast. Back in November 1st, 2021, you'd still be down 22% if you bought at the top
Yeah.
when it was at 407. And it went all the way down about 70, more than 70%
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
a 2 year period.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so the
that's the
price you pay matters.
yeah, yeah, it's a price of long-term investment, right? If you know that company is going to survive, um, most of the people I have seen gone who actually became rich was like they got the stock at the they somehow understood the market much better than the others, right? That yes, Nvidia is going to survive, right? Nobody was talking about Nvidia up till last year, right? But Nvidia became the talk of the town, and this year they have actually made all of their stakeholder and the shareholder happy. Because why not? Everybody became rich, millionaire and a billionaire. Why not?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very fascinating to understand where is when is the right time to invest, right? So uh,
Yeah, and I mean, I tell people all the time, like, Warren Buffett bought Apple. He didn't buy Apple till like 2015, 2016.
yeah,
Apple's been around since the 70s,
yeah,
but he bought it when their price to earnings ratio was at around 10, and he went heavy because
yeah,
when the price is really good and you have money and you do your
why not?
homework, you're like, the thing is you have to make the bet worthwhile. You
Yeah.
can't just put a little bit in.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. And yeah, like yeah, I think yeah, investment and I think even if you are a moderate investor for a long period of time, you can play the long game because you would have understand the market much better than somebody who's just coming up with money and doesn't understand the market that much. So it's always the game of time. I believe in every field of the world.
Yeah. It's all about time and how fast can you get something done. The faster you can get things done correctly
Yeah,
is the
true.
key word. Can you get it done fast and correct?
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're going fast and making mistakes, and it ends up taking more time than slow and methodical.
true, true, true. That's so true. Yeah, it
Well,
does.
well, sweet. Happy to have you on. It was fun, and we'll see you around next time. Bye, everyone.